Hey there, I'm Jason Yenta with 5 Star Roofing and Construction in Tampa and Orlando. Today I'm going to show you how to identify hail damage on a roof, what to look for, what it means, and how to tell if it's serious enough to take the next step. Whether you're a homeowner or just curious, this quick guide will help you spot the signs the pros look for. If you have any questions, you can always reach me at 407-630-1132 or visit my site at www.jasonyeto.com. Let's jump in. Alright, here today, 5 Star Roofing, Jason Yento.
Justin Ely.
We're doing an inspection for hail damage. We had a hailstorm recently and a customer called me out to take a look, see what we could find. Before we do that, we check the lower level, check all the gutters, garage doors, screens, window glazing, a number of different things to indicate whether or not there was hail in the area that could have damaged the roof. Once we identify that, then we do move up to the roof and see if we can identify damage on top. So let's go. Don't see a lot of damage here. The screen is pretty clean, but I always need to look at the plastic around here, see if there's any chips, any dings. Again, this side may not be the side impacted, but same on the back door screens. Here, you start to see some indication. So all these are little impact areas. Now we got over here to this side. We do have one pretty good ding right there. Some damage on this side over here as well. There we go. There's some more severe damage. So hole there, hole right there. And it's consistent across all these screens here. They all have some form of impact damage. He doesn't have a lot of gutters, but what he does have, I look for impacts, and we do have an impact here. I see a few more down low here, which would be indicative more of a downward hit. A few small ones up here. Again, since it was coming this direction, this one's pretty clean. But I can see, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera too well, but I can see a dimple up there for where the hail hit from the inside of the gutter. You can see two there and one over here as well. So there is strong indications there was some significant hail here, so we will get up on the roof and see what's going on up there next. All right, we're now up on top of the roof. We're gonna take a look for impacts to the granules, but before I do that, I always look for impacts to the soft metals because it tells a better story than the granules themselves. We'll get into blistering and all that stuff later, but we want to make sure there's actually impacts to the metal before we do anything else. So let's take a look. And just like we saw on the ground, the direction is consistent. We have really good dents here, here, here. And what we typically do to photograph this is we will chalk it . This shows up on camera, but I want to see good delineation of the indentation. So we document all that. Now I know there's collateral damage. I know that it actually impacted the metals on the roof. I'm going to start looking at the shingles as well. And this is perfect. So right here, you can see come on this side over here, this whole side was impacted. So the direction of the storm came this direction. This side over here is clean, but you see clear impacts. There, here, here. And you know these are impacts because the granules are still there. It's kind of a spongy feel to it. It means the mat is broken beneath it. And it definitely damaged the shingles. But you can clearly see this side is hit, this side is clean.
We've already done the elevation of the home and we look for collateral damage. We did find damage on the gutters, window screens, and the shutters on the windows and some of the siding. So that lets us know that yes, hail definitely hit the house. Now we're on the roof. We looked at the soft vents like your turtle vents, off-ridge vents, ridge vents, These are the types of things that are impacted by hail because they're made of aluminum, so a little bit softer, and they usually present with dents. Once we see that, we definitely know that we have some issues. Now we're doing some test squares on the roof, and we're going to identify hail on the shingles themselves. What we do is we start with a test square. It's a 10 by 10 box. That represents 100 square feet. Roofs are generally measured in squares. So, for example, if there's 50 squares on this roof and we find 10 to 15 hail marks in this square, we can assume that the rest of the roof was impacted identically. So that's how we determine how much damage was sustained by the roof without having to inspect every single square foot. Now, the thing we'd like to do is, we're going to see something here. As you can see, there's a mark here. But the thing that makes it hail is you can see how the granulars have been impacted. But the other thing we look to feel to see if there's a crater there, because when the stone hits the roof, it creates an indentation. And that indentation can also fracture the matting. So we look there, and then we put a circle around it to identify that it's hail. And we're going to do that. We just kind of go in a linear motion. We go across, and we look for any other marks that look like that. We got another one over here. We'll circle that, and then we move. We look for anything like this. This looks like it got hit on the edge. Two as well. And we got one over here. This is a good size one. You can see how deep that one is. That was well impacted. And we move over, and got another one over here. So the reason hail is damaging to a roof is because it impacts the asphalt the granulars that are on the surface of the asphalt and fiberglass shingle. The granulars are there to prevent ultraviolet rays from getting into the asphalt, into the fiberglass, and causing it to dry out. It also acts as a sun barrier for the home itself to keep the heat down as much as possible. So we definitely need granulars. When hail hits the matting, it can also fracture it, and if it fractures it, it can allow water intrusion underneath the shingle, and that can get into the underlayment. If there's any openings whatsoever, it'll find a way into the house. So we want to prevent that as well. So we continue down our path. We look for more hail. We're seeing all kinds of marks in this particular square. So magic number is generally 10. If we find 10 in a square, we've kind of hit the requirement for a claim. So when I go back and when I'm finished, I'm going to count. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 hits in this one square. That's a lot of hits. So I go up here, we got the west slope equals 25H, which stands for hail. All right. Now the next slope I'm going to do is the front slope. This would be the next slope that was impacted the most. So we're going to do the same thing, a little smaller square slope. We don't have the room to put a 10 by 10 box, so we do a 5 by 20 in this little section here. And that'll give us a good square to work with. Go this way. All right, same thing. We're going to start at the top. We work our way down. We can say this is a really big mark. Fractured the matting, tore up the fiberglass and everything. It's a good mark. We're going to continue. Oh, here's another one. That's a good one. A good granular impact. We got this one here. That's really deep. Circle that. Yeah, so there's plenty of hail, but this is what we do. We come up and we look for that. Sometimes we want to distinguish between hail and blisters. Blisters represent, they look similar, but the difference is there's no granular impacted, there's no crater, and all you see is fiberglass and kind of a jagged edge around that fiberglass matting. So let's see if we can identify something that looks like a blister versus a hail mark. Let's do a little something like here. You can see where there's no granulars impacted into the fiberglass. There's fiberglass showing. So what happens is there's a bubble that builds up in here, and it's like a little explosion. It blows the granulars away from the matting, and it leaves a mark like that. Similar to hail, but not the same because it doesn't have the granulars impacted. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you very much. If you guys need a roof, maintenance, repairs, no job's too small or too large. We do residential and commercial, metal, tile, TPO, mod bid, even alternative roofing materials. We're here to help. Give us a call today.